Have you ever wondered about the end of Queen Jezebel, one of the most infamous figures in biblical history? Picture a queen of extraordinary power and reach, her influence seeping into every corner of the kingdom. This was Queen Jezebel, an enigmatic and contentious figure whose name still resonates centuries later. She was the wife of King Ahab, and together they ruled over Israel, leaving a legacy that was anything but peaceful. Known particularly for her promotion of Baal worship, Jezebel remained a staunch opponent to the prophet Elijah, challenging his authority and the very core of his faith. Yet, as with all tales of power and pride, a prophecy loomed over Jezebel's reign, a prophecy that foretold a gruesome end. But every reign has its end, and so did Jezebel's. Let's delve into the final chapter of her life. The downfall of Queen Jezebel was not unforeseen. A prophecy had foretold it. In the sacred pages of the Bible, we find the story of a vineyard, a king and a queen whose ambition would lead to her downfall. Let us turn our attention to the prophet Elijah, a man who was no stranger to foretelling the future. After the brutal murder of Naboth, the innocent vineyard owner, Elijah was given a divine message to deliver. The message was a prophecy, a dire prediction about the fate of Queen Jezebel, the very woman who had orchestrated Naboth's death to appease her husband, King Ahab's desire for the vineyard. Elijah, the unwavering prophet of God, walked into the royal court, fearlessly faced the king and queen, and proclaimed, "In the place where dogs licked up the blood of Naboth, dogs will also lick up your blood." A chilling prophecy indeed, but it did not stop there. Turning to Jezebel, Elijah continued, "The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel." A gruesome end was foretold for the queen, a punishment for her wicked deeds. The prophecy was a stark reminder of the divine justice that awaited those who shed innocent blood. The murder of Naboth was not just a transgression against one man, it was a violation of the divine law, a blatant disregard for the sanctity of life and property. Jezebel's role was pivotal in this act of grave injustice. She was not merely a silent bystander, she was the mastermind, the puppeteer pulling the strings from behind the curtain. She used her husband's seal to send letters, conspired to falsely accuse Naboth of blasphemy, and orchestrated his execution. This was not a mere act of greed, it was a calculated, cold-blooded murder. And for this, the prophecy foretold a merciless end. As the prophet Elijah delivered this prophecy, one could imagine the chilling silence that must have filled the royal court. The queen, known for her fierce demeanor, could only listen as her fate was foretold. And as the days passed, the prophecy would soon come to pass. Like a ticking clock, the time for the prophecy's fulfillment was nigh. In the midst of chaos and rebellion, a man named Jehu emerged from the shadows. This was no ordinary man, but a military officer, a chariot commander who led a coup against Jezebel's son, King Joram. As the wheels of fate turned, Jehu became the unlikely instrument of Jezebel's downfall. But let's pause and consider Jezebel's reaction to the impending doom. There was no fear, no desperation. Instead, she prepared for her end with a kind of dignity that was as surprising as it was unsettling. She adorned herself with makeup, the kohl lining her eyes intensifying their fiery spark. She arranged her hair meticulously, each strand falling into place with a practiced ease. It was as if she was dressing for a grand feast rather than her own demise. From her window she watched as Jehu approached. The hooves of his horses echoed through the silent streets, a grim reminder of the prophecy that was about to unfold. But Jezebel did not falter. She did not run. She stood at her window, her silhouette a stark contrast against the setting sun. As Jehu neared, she called out to him, her voice echoing through the air, filled with a chilling calm. Her words were not of fear but of defiance. She challenged him, questioned his loyalty, his intentions. But Jehu was resolute, his purpose unwavering. In her final moments, Jezebel remained defiant, facing her end with a chilling calm. She had been a queen, a powerful woman who ruled with an iron fist, and even in death she refused to be anything less. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but not before Jezebel had left her indelible mark on history, a mark that continues to be a subject of debate and fascination to this day. The end of Queen Jezebel was as dramatic as her life had been. Brimming with defiance till her last breath, she was not one to go quietly into the night. The tale of her demise is as chilling as it is cautionary. When Jehu, who had been anointed king by God's command, rode into Jezreel, Jezebel did not cower. Instead, she painted her face, adorned her head with a tiara, and peered out of her palace window. As Jehu entered the palace gates, she taunted him with jibes, trying to undermine his authority. But Jehu was not swayed by her words or her royal demeanor. In response to her taunts, Jehu looked up and called out to her eunuchs, asking who was on his side. When a few of them showed their loyalty to him, he commanded, "Throw her down!" and they complied. The queen, once a symbol of power and influence, was thrown out of the window by her own servants, plummeting down to a tragic end. But the gruesome tale does not end there. Jezebel's body lay in the street, trampled under the hooves of horses as Jehu and his men feasted inside the palace. It was a stark contrast to the luxury and power she had once enjoyed. Her fall from grace was literal and symbolic, a chilling sight for all who had once feared her. The prophecy was fulfilled to the letter when dogs came and feasted on her remains, leaving behind nothing but her skull, feet, and the palms of her hands. Just as the prophet Elijah had foretold, the queen who had led so many into idolatry and wickedness was denied a proper burial. Her end was a testament to the divine justice that she had scorned throughout her life. And thus the infamous Queen Jezebel met her gruesome end. Her story serves as a stark reminder that pride goes before a fall, and that those who sow the wind shall indeed reap the whirlwind. The story of Queen Jezebel's life and death is not just a tale of power and downfall. It carries profound lessons. Firstly, Jezebel's story teaches us about the consequences of pride and defiance against God. Jezebel was a strong, dominant, and manipulative queen who used her power to defy God and lead her people into idolatry. She was a woman who thought she could shape the world according to her own desires, irrespective of God's commandments. Her pride and defiance, however, led to her downfall. This teaches us that no matter how powerful we may become, we are still subject to divine authority. Allowing pride to guide our actions can lead us down a dangerous path, where the consequences can be severe. Secondly, Jezebel's story is a testament to the fulfillment of God's word, no matter how long it takes. The prophecy of her gruesome death was fulfilled years after it was first pronounced. This teaches us about the certainty of God's word. His promises, as well as his warnings, are sure to come to pass, regardless of the time it takes. Lastly, Jezebel's life and death remind us of the importance of humility and obedience to God. Jezebel chose to exalt herself above God's authority, and she paid the ultimate price for her actions. Her story warns us that living a life of disobedience and pride leads to destruction and death. On the other hand, living a life of humility and obedience, acknowledging God's authority over our lives, leads to life and peace. Jezebel's story is more than just a historical account. It's a cautionary tale filled with lessons for all of us. It warns us of the dangers of pride and defiance, reminds us of the certainty of God's word, and emphasizes the importance of humility and obedience. In the end, Jezebel's story serves as a stark reminder of the wages of sin and the unfailing truth of divine justice. So there you have it, the dramatic and tragic story of Queen Jezebel's end. In the whirlwind of events, we find a narrative that's as riveting as it is gruesome. From the prophecy of her downfall to its chilling fulfillment, Jezebel's story is a stark reminder of the consequences of arrogance, pride, and defiance against divine authority. But let's not forget the lessons embedded in this tale. Jezebel's fate serves as a powerful cautionary tale, warning us of the dire ramifications of succumbing to greed, corruption, and the abuse of power. This story urges us to reflect on our actions, to question our motivations, and to strive for humility, respect, and righteousness. It's a call to heed the voice of conscience and to recognize the inherent dignity and value in every life. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, become a part of our family, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.